Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this VIP session. We are going to talk today about your unique personal brand and the power of connection. So, you might be wondering, well, what does my personal brand have to do with connection? And I'm going to say everything because we'll get into the details about what a personal brand actually is, and then we'll talk about how you can identify and then fine tune those details that are going to help you stand out anytime you are meeting people, whether it be online or in person. So, my goal today is to help you create a unique personal brand and message so that you can continue to build connections and deep relationships to ensure your success. Now, one of the things that I believe is that you can grow your business with simplicity, ease, and grace and without social media. So you will hear me mention that throughout my talk today. And I will actually give you some ideas and some tools, so strategies per se, that you can employ so that you don't have to be on social media all of the time to build those connections. So, your personal brand begins with your unique life experiences, gifts, and knowledge. And that will be the base of what we talk about today. So, a little bit about me for those of you who haven't met me before, or maybe we haven't had a formal introduction. I have a doctorate in pharmacy by degree. I was in corporate for many years and then had my own medical writing and consulting business for pharmaceutical companies, managed care companies, and marketing companies. So, that is where my strategic and marketing talents, skills, I guess, really came from. I also, years into my medical career, became a professional photographer, which led me to specialize in branding photography and become a certified brand strategist and brand specialist. And from there, I have gone on to get become a master certified life coach. I am now a master certified solution focused neuroscience coach and soon to be a CC credentialed coach. So, as you can tell, part of my personal brand is that I love to learn and I love to teach and I love to guide. So, one thing I want to emphasize is that belief is everything. This quote by Anthony Robbins kind of summarizes that. What we can or cannot do, what we consider possible or impossible, is rarely a function of our true capability. It is more likely a function of our beliefs about who we are. So before you can grow your business, you must believe in number one, yourself and your soulmate clients. From a place of belief, you can actually create a unique personal brand. And why is that important? Why do you need to believe in order to do that? Because your beliefs in what's possible for you, for your clients, in the gifts that God has given you, all of those beliefs become absolutely crucial in order for you to be confident and trust yourself so that other people will then be confident and trust in you. Your journey and experiences, combined with your God-given talents, have shaped you and have given you everything you need to be the expert and authority in your niche, as well as to create a unique personal brand. And those become the foundation of your business. So, what is a personal brand? Your personal brand is the perception that other people have of you, what they think, say, and feel about you when you show up on a screen in Zoom or when you walk into a room at an in person networking event. What are they saying about you when you're not present? What are they saying about the experience of interacting with you when you're not in the room to someone else that could potentially become a referral? So, what is personal branding? It's actually how you differentiate yourself, how you communicate, which we will get into in just a little bit. But your personal branding efforts are all about communicating your unique self, your unique talents, the unique way you do business, the unique way you help your clients, and your unique soulmate clients. So you're probably going to get tired of hearing me say unique and differentiate because it's going to be on repeat today, because that's exactly what we want you to be so that you can stand out. Now, what is brand identity? And this is often confused with personal brand. Your brand identity are those assets, your color palette, your topography, your branded images, your logos. Those are all your brand identity. And they are important for you to be recognizable. Collectively, they tell your story. So your personal brand, your personal branding efforts, how you communicate and differentiate yourself, that message that you convey, in addition to your assets, all help you become recognizable, memorable, and importantly, shareable. So let's review the personal brand 7Cs. This is a checklist that I personally think every personal brand should be grounded on. So first comes clarity, then confidence. Your personal brand must be cohesive. It must be consistent. Your content is absolutely crucial in order to build connection and community. And we are going to go into each one of these. So clarity leads to confidence. What you do is going to be the base of your clarity. The journey and experiences that brought you to where you are today to give you your expertise includes your education, maybe certifications, mistakes you've made and learned from, successes you've had and you've learned from, knowing what works, what doesn't, including any way, shape, or form that you have considered yourself having failed. That all goes into that journey and helps you be able to determine what makes you stand out. How you do what you do. How is the way you do things unique compared to everybody else in your niche? And that again is going to be determined by your journey and your experiences. Who do you serve? Who are your soulmate clients? Your best fit clients? What are their pain points, their needs, wants, and desires? And why do you do what you do? Clarity around all of those things is going to be absolutely crucial for you to have confidence in the message that you create and then deliver to everyone in the audience that you're serving. Cohesive. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you want to represent yourself the same across all platforms that you're on, whether that is online or in person. You want to have your graphics, your colors, your fonts, your messaging consistent and cohesive across every platform. You don't want to say one thing on your website and something else, maybe when you interview on a podcast or when you post on social media, if you use social media. You want to become recognizable and memorable. The more recognizable and memorable you are, as I said before, you will be more shareable. And that is ultimately what we want and why we want to build connection. But the more cohesive you are and the more recognizable and memorable you are, the more people will be confident in you and trust you. And that's how those connections continue to form and grow and become deep relationships. So ultimately, demonstrating your uniqueness and your expertise in a cohesive manner so that you can, as I said, build trust. Consistency. Some people want to be on social media, some people don't. If you're going to be on social media, you want to be consistent. But more importantly, you need to be consistent with the evergreen content that you create. So what does that content look like, and where are you publishing it, and how frequently are you publishing it? Your method, your strategy should be consistent so that people can learn to expect when you're going to show up and know that they can trust you to show up and deliver value for them and help them and serve them. Another part of being consistent is showing up for yourself, even when you feel discouraged. Sometimes those are the times when we can make the deepest connections when we put ourselves out there, even though we don't want to. Your content and message should be consistent across every platform. You should demonstrate your uniqueness and your expertise consistently. That all of these things, just simply being consistent with how you show up, the messages you convey, are going to build trust. The last thing I want to emphasize is when it comes to being consistent, always follow up. So if you meet someone at a networking event, if you meet someone in a Zoom meeting, follow up with them, connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a note, have a coffee chat, take that connection one step further, but always do the follow up that you say you're going to do, because that builds trust. They know they can depend on you, and they'll invite you into their community, which will expand your connections. Content leads to building connection, just as I said. So you want to communicate what makes you unique from all others in your niche and what differentiates you as your brand, you and your brand. Now, as I said before, that's going to include your experiences. It's also going to include the quality of service you provide or the quality of product you provide. It's going to include your pricing. It's going to include your location. Do you work solely online? Do you work with people in person? What does it look like to work with you? Who are your soulmate clients? And again, I will emphasize this over and over. Know their pain points, know their needs, wants, and desires, know the questions they are asking. And then, what is the speed and ease with working with you? Is your onboarding process automated? Can people have a discovery call with you before they sign on with you? Do they need to apply? All of these things are a part of what differentiates you and your business from everybody else in your niche. Most importantly, with your content is you want to provide value. I'm always going to suggest that you provide value through evergreen content first. And when I say evergreen content, that would become your blog, or that would become if you have a podcast, whatever platform that you own, maybe it's your email list. But I'm going to always emphasize having a home base for your content. And I would prefer and I would recommend that that is always on a blog and a website so that people can find you through search engines at any time, from any place, and consistently discover the value that you are providing. What that does is it also builds trust. Your content should inspire, educate, and entertain. People love stories. They love to get to know the ins and outs of you, who you are as a business owner, who you are as a person. I'm not saying you have to share all of your secrets. However, they do want to know more about you because that's how they begin to trust you, and it deepens that connection. Speak directly to your soulmate client, as I suggested before, and show empathy. Demonstrate an understanding of their pain points. The more empathy you can show for your clients and where they're at in their journey, and explaining to them that you were once there, that you get it, that you understand, that you know what they're going through, the more you're going to build that trust and deepen that relationship. Your connection that you build through your content is going to lead to community. I always suggest that if you're just starting out, you start with those that you already know, those people who already love and trust you, and ask them to be your referral sources. Ask them for introductions to people who might need your help or that could be a connection for further developments down the road. Build relationships with like-minded people. And I'm going to put a plug in here, Cassie, for CEC, because Cassie and I are in a group of like-minded people. And what that has done for us is open doors, but also given us the opportunity to serve more people and have our names and faces more recognizable within the business coaching industry. So I encourage you that if you're looking for a place to find like-minded people, CEC, and Cassie can obviously share more details at the end, or I can, is going to be a wonderful place to be able to start doing that. And what that does is also help build that trust in yourself as you build more relationships and you communicate your message more and you become more consistent and cohesive with your message. It builds your confidence and your trust in yourself, which builds the trust and confidence from other people. It also opens the door for collaboration opportunities and referrals. When you communicate with your audience via email marketing, via your blog post, via a podcast guest spot, or having a podcast, you're staying front of mind with your audience. Someone may not buy from you immediately, but every time you show up in their inbox, it's a reminder to them that you're there, and they might have a conversation with someone the next day who needs your service, and then they refer them to you. So that is why you always want to be cohesive and consistent, and communicate on a regular basis. Now, back to beliefs for just a second. So, I believe that personal brand success starts with a formula. It's going to include mindset, it's going to include strategy, action, and at the center of all of that is accountability. And this is where connection really comes into play. Whether it is through a coach, whether it is through a community, whether it is through a work buddy, but you want to have that accountability so that you don't get stuck in a negative mindset and not moving your business forward. We want you to create results. So we're back to beliefs and mindset. And this may sound kind of silly. We're talking about personal brand. However, you cannot build your personal brand or build connection with others unless you have a positive mindset, unless your beliefs are in a place where it's positive so that you can have positive thoughts about everything you're doing, about the people you're meeting, about the people you're working with, and about yourself. Because your beliefs are going to influence your thoughts, which are going to influence your emotions and feelings. Those emotions and feelings, believe it or not, are going to determine the choices you make, the actions you take, the behaviors you choose, which are going to determine your outcomes, the results that you want to achieve for your business. I mean, let's face it, nobody starts a business with the mindset to fail. However, because building a business is hard at times and can be overwhelming and challenging, people can get stuck in the muck and mire of negative thoughts. So we want to make sure that our beliefs are solid in what God has called us to, what our faith represents in our lives. We want to believe strongly in ourself and our abilities and our capabilities. We want to believe in our soulmate client, that our soulmate client is ready to take action and will get results when they work with us or buy our products or services. We want to believe in the experiences we've had and the experiences we will create when working with clients. And we also want to believe what we've been taught, but what we've been taught and what we have experienced also influence our beliefs. So those two kind of go both ways. So if you've had a negative experience, did you learn from that? And can you switch that negative experience to believing that that negative experience actually created a positive result in terms of the fact that you learned, you grew, and now you're doing it better? So your thoughts, what do you think about yourself as the business owner? What do you think of yourself in terms of your abilities and those past experiences? What do you think about your soulmate client and the audience that you're creating content for? What do you believe about or think about your abilities, their abilities? How many what if thoughts are coming up for you, questioning whether or not you can do this, whether or not you actually were called to this, whether or not you're able or willing or they're willing to hire you? All those what ifs have to be addressed. And then what are your thoughts around the possibility of outcomes? Do you believe that anything is possible through God who called you to this purpose? Have you set reasonable goals to achieve those outcomes so that you can avoid burnout? And again, community is key for this so that you don't get sucked in to this negative what if spiral and then end up burnt out. So emotions and feelings influence choices, behaviors, and actions. We don't want you to stay stuck. We don't want you sitting on the couch binging on Netflix. We want you taking positive action in your business. When you don't build connection, when you don't implement things in your business, you're going to feel like you're spinning in circles, and that's no fun. When you take positive action, or when you have positive mindset, you're going to take positive action. You're going to feel motivated. Then you're going to take more positive action, and then you're going to see progress. When we have a positive mindset, we stand tall. When we walk in a room at a networking event, we feel confident, and our confidence exudes from us. And when that happens, people want to connect with us. The same thing when you show up online. Show up as a confident personal brand, as a confident business owner. And when you do so, people will want to get to know you, and you will be able to build connection and trust. Your outcomes are determined by your choices and behaviors. And believe it or not, how you show up as a personal brand is a behavior. It is a choice. So if you're stuck, you're going to get minimal outcomes. You're going to have limited connections, and you're going to have limited growth. The solution is always to be mindful of what your beliefs are, what your thoughts are, and what your emotions are, so that you can move forward into a growth mindset versus a lack mindset. So, a brand marketing strategy for success without social media is going to include the following. You are going to have complete clarity and confidence around your purpose, what God has called you to. You're going to maximize your website. That means your copy is going to be on brand, your copy is going to be clear and concise, and it's going to be cohesive. You're going to blog to provide value and to build an SEO strategy so that people can find you online. You're going to have processes and systems in place for onboarding, offboarding, for your lead magnet, for your funnels, for your any type of growth that you want to have in your business. You want to streamline as much as possible so that the outward facing parts of your business demonstrate care, quality, professionalism, and ease for the client. You want to have cornerstone or evergreen content and platforms. And again, I always recommend a blog because it's so incredibly powerful. Email marketing, podcasting, or being a podcast guest. Speaking is huge for building connection and growing your community. And if you want to connect and grow without social media, these are going to be the crucial things that you're going to want to invest your time and energy in. Again, community. Community is going to open the door for PR opportunities, collaborations, and referrals. When you are a guest on a podcast, the person that's bringing you on to be a guest is trusting that you're going to provide value. Their listeners, who are faithful followers of theirs, are then going to trust you. You become a warm person to them, not a cold stranger, when the host brings you on to share your message, your value. So keep that in mind. It's an incredible way to grow your community and build connection. I always suggest that you build the foundation for your business first, and that is going to include your personal brand and your website and your message. And the other thing I always want to encourage people is as you're building, as you're trying to grow to the next level, and as you're trying to build these connections and these deeper relationships, don't get sucked in to comparing yourself to others, and don't let yourself get sucked into imposter syndrome. If God has placed a calling on your heart, He's going to equip you. And nothing anybody else is doing should influence your decisions within your business. Because what happens when you start looking at what other people are doing and how they're doing it and who they're serving, your message is going to become confusing. You will lose authenticity and you will lack the ability to build trust with your audience. Confused people don't buy. So if you're saying one thing over here and then doing another thing over here or saying another thing over here, that's going to create confusion. And anytime we're inauthentic and we're actually doing what other people are doing because we think it's going to work better than what we're doing, we're going to create that confusion. So now it's time to take action. The first step is to start. So depending on where you are in your business is going to determine where you're starting. Maybe it's evaluating your mindset and your beliefs. Maybe it is evaluating what hasn't been working and what you need to do to shift to make things work better. You want to create demand intentionally. And that includes creating content and putting yourself out there as a personal brand to build your connections in your community. When you create content, you want to create content that actually converts, tell stories, share testimonials, and get the help that you need. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Know your numbers, what works, what doesn't, and don't keep doing the same thing that isn't working. I think it was Einstein that said, when you continuously do something that isn't working, it isn't the definition of insanity. So if there are things that have not been working, they're necessary endings. Turn away from those and start fresh. Build community, build your confidence, build trust, and then you will achieve results. Questions, anyone? I'm going to stop sharing. And that was kind of a lot in a short amount of time, but if you have questions, I'm here for the next, whatever, 28 minutes or so.
I don't know if Kathy has any questions, but I know that we've been having this conversation so much recently. So I love to see A, some really practical steps, Robin, that you shared, but B, also an affirmation that this process works. And do you care, like, I think she's going to have a question, but just in general for us, would you care, like, share a little of your experience of what this looks like for your business? Because I know so many of us have been inundated. You have to be on social media. You have to be on social media. You need to be visible on social media. What does it look like for you running your business mostly off of social media? Like, I know your Facebook, you said as of last week, it wasn't even working. And you were like,
I
I'm
know
not
I
worried about it.
did.
I'm not even like, like I can't. She's like, Cassie, I can't get in the Facebook group. And I'm like, that's fine. You're not on social media. Like, that's fine. Would you
The,
talk about what that actually looks like as a business owner that uses this and sees it successful?
absolutely. So I will tell you that the majority of my clients come to me through Google, and second to that is through podcast guesting. So, and how I get the podcast slots is because I have a podcast of my own. So, a lot of people are intimidated to take that action and actually start a podcast or to become a guest, but it opens the door for so many relationships and so many referral sources. So, my entire strategy is around SEO. We use the podcast, which for blog post, which we optimize for SEO. I write blog posts for SEO. And here's the thing, a lot of people get really intimidated about writing. I'm not a writer, I can't write. That I would challenge that to say, where is that thought coming from? And what happens if you try to write? And can we come up with another strategy to make it easier for you to write? The reality is, we all have life experiences. If you're working with clients now, you have stories to tell, you have examples to pull from. And a blog post only needs to be 300 words in order to rank for SEO. 300 words. I bet if you sat down for 15 minutes, you could easily come up with 300 words. Now, I always recommend that we actually go up to 600 words simply because it's a better chance of ranking. If you think about it, you have the longer people are on your website, the longer they're consuming your content, the more Google's going to see that you're providing value and they should send people there to answer the questions that you're providing answers for. So the blog and the podcast sort of go hand in hand, but the blog came first, then the podcast. The podcast opens doors for not only creating additional evergreen content, but also referrals, collaborations, and all of those good things. And then podcast guesting. Podcast guesting is getting in front of more and more people who are giving you a platform of a warm audience to present yourself to. Speaking is another thing. And what I always suggest, if you aren't already a speaker, try podcast guesting first so that you build your confidence with speaking, with sharing your message verbally, and then approach small opportunities for speaking and grow your platform for speaking from there. If you don't want to be on social media, but you want to have an online presence from a video perspective, I always suggest YouTube. The reason being, YouTube is a search engine. People can search the video. YouTube hears the words you're saying, and that is part of their SEO. That's how they help people. That's how they determine what your message is. But your title, your description, all of those things also are searchable with YouTube. So the more video content you can create for YouTube, the more likely you're going to be able to translate that to traffic to your website and increase your visibility. Does that answer your question, Cassie?
Yeah, it definitely does. And Kathy probably has a follow-up question. I just wanted to kind of I wanted you to share how it all worked together since it's something that she's kind of
Yeah. And the other thing I didn't mention is Pinterest is a search engine. Now, Pinterest actually it's great, especially if you are in health and wellness, if you are in fashion, if you have a product. For coaches, I haven't seen as great a result with Pinterest. But if you are in those areas where people are going there to search for ideas, for recipes, for fashion, or for home decor, things like that, Pinterest is a phenomenal way to build your community because it is a search engine as well. It's not just a DIY site, it's actually a search engine. So you have a lot of ways, there's a lot of capability there, I should say, if you're in those industries.
And I will say, as a coach that doesn't sell products, but I have a lot of lead magnets, Pinterest sends us traffic every week because they go to download the lead magnet,
Yep.
which then leads them into our coaching
Yeah.
community. So we get leads every week from Pinterest. And to be honest,
Mhm.
I forget about it. And I'm always surprised when I'm like, oh, Pinterest, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
as a
it's
coach,
great for that. And again, for if you're blogging, it sends the blog, it Pinterest wants people to click off to your site, which is totally different than social media. Social media platforms want to keep the traffic on their sites, right? Because that's how they make their money. When people click off, then they don't like that at all. So if you're putting a link on your site on your social, sending people away from those platforms, it's basically like they're penalizing you. They're not going to show that content. Whereas Pinterest actually encourages that. So that traffic is going from Pinterest to your blog post or, to your lead magnet, which we always have. We always send to a blog post with the lead magnet as the call to action. Yeah.
Kathy, what question do you have? I feel like you've been trying to ask it.
No, I don't know that I really have a question. I mean, you already I was going to ask her how it looks day to day because I have my social media on autopilot through the month and then I'm out of there. I hate it. My Facebook group, nobody sees it. My business, I think business pages are ridiculous. It's Facebook. Nobody sees my content. So I'm out of there except for I will keep my personal and then I will share my heart on my personal page. But it's funny because I was wrestling with it and then Thursday and Friday I saw no less than 5 podcasts come through my app that were talking about how to get off of social media. So that was confirmation for me, like I can go. But my one hanging on was if I'm not on social media, how is anybody going to find me? And I am blogging. I started blogging. I was doing it once a month. Now I'm doing it twice a month. I may get up to weekly, especially if I'm not spending all my time creating content for social media. I am revamping I'm a musician, so I do a lot of music on YouTube, but I'm wanting to up that game as well. So I think you probably answered the questions I have, which were, how do you get found? Not that anybody's seen me now, but the myth is that if you're on social media, everybody's going to see you. So that's the one thing that, coming off of that is like, well, okay, now what do I do? Now,
Mhm.
so for blogging, Robin, it's just a matter of, SEOing effectively and then waiting,
Waiting.
see if anybody finds you,
Oh,
comes to your
well,
website off of
okay.
that.
Okay. So here's what I would ask you. First and foremost, how much time are you spending creating that content for Instagram a month?
Probably because I work a full-time job too. So I probably spend a good 2 full days a week. 2 full days to create posts for one day a week, Monday through Friday for a month.
Okay. So if you took that energy and that time and put that into blogging, because chances are you're creating a relatively long caption for these social posts, which should be on your website as evergreen content. Because what happens is that Instagram content is maybe going to be visible for 48 hours. You're a blog. I still have blogs that I wrote 5 years ago that are ranked number one. Now, it takes time and there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You can't just slap a blog up and expect people to come. You have to have a true SEO strategy. You're going to have keywords and key phrases. What do you want to be known for? And this is where your messaging is so important because you have to know who you're speaking to and what it is they're looking for. What are their pain points? What problems do you solve? What are their need, wants, and desires? What are they going to that Google search bar and searching for? And once you establish those things, then you can actually create your content so that Google sees you as the answer. Now, if there's not a lot of key phrases, if there's not a lot of searching for a key phrase, you're going to be able to rank for that phrase faster. You may rank for a phrase fast, but it may not be your exact thing you want to rank for. However, you're bringing them to your site and then you're linking them either to an ebook that's free or a lead magnet that's free so that they can learn more from you. And now they're on your email list. So now you're staying front of mind with them, right? So it's all about what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to find you for? And then building from there.
A follow-up question. Do you have suggestions for doing keyword research where I don't have to pay for it? I did see, I forget what it is. I saw one that was supposedly free through Google, but when I went to do it, they wanted me to create a Google Ads account, and I don't want that.
But you can create a Google Ads account without running ads.
Okay.
And if you want to do keyword research for free, that's your option.
Okay.
Any other platform that you're going to do SEO search keyword searches on is going to end up charging you because you're only going to be able to do like 3 test runs. And if they're not ranking the way you want them to rank, or they don't have the possibility of ranking the way you want it to, then you've wasted your search for that day or that week, depending on the
So
platform.
do you have suggestions for honing keywords?
I always say you start with your personal brand, what you want to be known for, the problem that you solve, and then who the person is that you always have to factor in your soulmate client. It's what they are searching for. That is the nuts and bolts of it. This is all stuff that I work with my clients on. So it's not that I'm being evasive. It's just that it's extensive. It's not like I can just say, here's what you're going to do. Like
Yeah, no, I
it's a
know.
learning curve and it's all strategic.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
So where do you put these blogs? Is it on Google, or what other options do you have of where to put the blogs?
On your website,
Oh, but people don't go to my website.
well, that's because they can't find you. Yeah.
So what do I do so they find me?
Well, you have to have a search engine optimization strategy if you want them to find you. So that starts with your copy. It starts with, doing the keyword research. It starts with blogging and putting content there that's valuable so that Google or the other search engines see that you're providing value and that people want that value from you.
And how do you find the right podcast to be a guest?
This is a whole nother thing that we won't have complete time to go into, but there are different platforms out there that you can use. Apple Podcast Connect is one, and then Listen Notes is one where you can actually go on and whatever your expertise is, you would search for your expertise and the topics that you will be able to provide value on and search for podcasts that are related to that. If you are new to guesting and don't have a huge following, then I suggest you stick with like maybe the top, I don't know, top 20 to 50% of podcasts. I would not pitch to a top 5% plus because they're not going to say yes.
There's also, I forget the name of it right now, but there's a Facebook group out there that's the gist is they're searching for podcast guests. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it is there.
And I would proceed with caution with those groups. Anything that's on Facebook, you can get into. There are a lot of gray areas, and what my experience has been is and what other podcasters like myself who have been doing it for a long time, the quality's not there. There's a reason they're going to Facebook to post that.
So you said Apple Podcast Connect, and what was the other one you mentioned?
Listen Notes.
Listen Notes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Phil has his hand up. It's hard to see on his brown, but I think he does.
Oh, he
have a
sure
hand
does.
raised.
Yes, he does.
Thanks so much, Robin. Thanks, Cassie, for hosting this and making it happen. I have, over the last 6 months or so, stopped pretty much, other than personal stuff, using Facebook, for example, and shifted all of my focus over to LinkedIn because I'm working with organizational leaders, business people, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I have a newsletter that's on there. And thanks for the encouragement not to just have it there, but have it also available on my web page.
Mhm.
But I'd be interested in the comments because LinkedIn is not social media in the same way that others are, and yet it is.
Mhm.
Love your thoughts.
The definition of LinkedIn is a social platform.
Right.
However, the algorithm is much easier to be seen if you do not have to spend the amount of time or create the volume of content on LinkedIn that you do on other social media platforms.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is searchable as well. And if your audience is on LinkedIn versus Instagram, hands down, be on LinkedIn.
Right.
You don't have to post every day. You can post once a week and still gain traction on LinkedIn if you're using key phrases, keywords, hashtags. You don't want to use more than 3 hashtags per post. There's controversy over whether you put the link to your blog post in the actual caption of a post or if you put that in the first comment. I am of the thought that I want to make it as easy as possible for people. I don't want to make them go and search for something in the comment. I prefer
Right.
to give them the link right there. Have we seen a decrease in traffic? No. From doing that? No. But I will tell you, if you're going to get engagement from your ideal audience and your ideal audience is LinkedIn, that's where you should be. But
Thanks so much.
I would always create the content on your website, on your blog, and drive the traffic there. And if you're driving the traffic from LinkedIn to your website, that's awesome. But then you can also use your email list to drive that traffic. The other thing you can do on LinkedIn is share your lead magnet. But the nice thing about LinkedIn too, you can have the link to connect with you or to go to your website right in the bio. LinkedIn just gives you a lot of opportunities, including make sure that your profile is completely up to date, your about section.
Right.
You have an opportunity to put featured things there. So if you write a blog post, you can put that in your featured section. You can join groups, share things in groups. So LinkedIn is hands down a great platform. And I have a couple of podcast episodes on LinkedIn that you might find helpful that go over like what to include in your profile and how to become more visible.
So what is the name of that podcast?
It's the Robin Graham Show. And if you go to my website, you can go to my blog and just search LinkedIn, and those posts will come up for you. And you can either read the blog post or listen to the episode right there on the website.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Robin
And I just
is,
wanna-
I'm sorry, is LinkedIn still more of a corporate professional?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not
'Cause
at
I was
all.
on it years ago. Okay.
It's still very much used for that. A lot of people like large corporations, that's how they're getting their candidates now for jobs. They don't even use recruiters a lot of times now or HR. They actually, it's all their application processes and everything are done by AI through LinkedIn. But that's a small sector. Like you have a ton of entrepreneurs there, a ton of coaches. A lot of people have shifted over there simply because it's a lot easier to become visible.
One of the big factors from my mind is that only 4% of the people on LinkedIn actually ever post there.
Yeah.
Where Facebook, you're probably looking at 75, 80%, something like that. So if you are posting, you are rare.
Yeah. It's not a platform that's used a lot for posting depending on the person. And again, I can't stress this enough. You have to know who your audience is and where they're hanging out. What do they want from you? Where do they want you to show up for them? It's all about them. It's not about you. So it's what they want from you that's going to work best for you.
The other thing that I still know very little about is SEO. What would you suggest as a good jumping off point to really get familiar with it and make far better choices?
I go to my YouTube channel. I have some intro videos. That would give you a good starting point.
Thank you
And
very much.
Robin did an SEO workshop for us last month. I believe Robin was the last month in Christian Entrepreneurs. So if y'all are a part of that, go in the
Yeah.
replays. Her
I think it was
SEO
January. I think it was
January.
January.
Okay, so
Yeah, but there's even more there's more on my YouTube channel. So you can go to either place, but if you go to that I think the replay link is going to take you to my YouTube channel anyway. So that's where you'll end up.
okay, perfect. Well, and this was a perfect example, guys, of exactly what Robin was teaching today. She started a conversation, got questions around the topic, and then was able to point you all to evergreen content she's already created that will now position her to serve each one of us better with her additional products and services. So what she just modeled here live is exactly what she's encouraging each of us to build. So if somebody comes to Phil or Joyce or Karen or Kathy with a question, you have a resource in place somewhere that you can direct them to. Go listen to podcast episode 17. Go watch my YouTube channel and look for these topics. That's how people find you. Robin's done the work to create content that lives outside. Robin is off living her life, taking care of her kids, ministering to her people, leading her classes. And people are finding her every day online because of the content that she's created around topics that serve you. So what she just modeled here, go watch my YouTube channel, check out this podcast. That's exactly what she's encouraging each of us to build.
Yeah.
Because if we were just
Cassie, there are the question Joyce asked about podcast guesting, tons of resources on on my blog and my YouTube. Same thing with Pinterest, LinkedIn, everything. SEO, it's all there. I mean, anybody could listen to my free content and grow a successful business without even talking.
And it's true. I've listened to several of her pieces.
It's insane the value that's on any of my platforms. So you can really find a lot of resources.
That is awesome. Robin, thank you for serving us today. I highly encourage you all, if you want to have a continued conversation with Robin, I guarantee you her website is where you need to go. Robin, if you will drop your website down there so we can see an example of an SEO setup website, a personal brand in action and how to connect there. Also, do check out her free resources, her podcast, and her YouTube channel. As she said, they're all searchable. So you can look for a content. If Kathy's looking for YouTube, you can search YouTube. If Phil's looking for SEO, lots of content on SEO, podcast hosting, website setup, all of that good stuff is on there as well. Yeah. And then take this and put it into practice. Don't just, it's so easy to sit and say, oh, well, social media, blah, blah, but put the work into creating this content. Create that brand that allows you to be set apart, and you will be able to now have those pieces in place that are going to let you grow. So Robin, anything you want to have us wrap up with today? That was really helpful. And I think it actually opened up a lot of different avenues for us to even go farther beyond just our personal brand. It sounds like we all kind of have branches of SEO and podcasting and things for us to research.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have questions, you can contact me directly through the website always. There's a resource page. It's the website, therobingraham.com/resources. And there's a plethora of resources there that you can download. Some of what I've already talked about to you today, but just in more detail. The podcast, you can get access everything, the podcast, everything from the website. So hands down, that's the best place to do that. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Either if you're in CEC, great. And if you're not in CEC, I encourage you to join that community. If you're already in CC and you're looking CEC, I can't say it, looking for more, Cassie and I have a monthly group program too that we would love to have you join that as well. And it's I'm in there if you join through me, my clients get me for 3 hours a month, 2 90-minute sessions. And this is all the stuff that I teach and walk you through the strategies and help you do it. So,
Can I ask a quick question?
mhm.
Okay. I just, if I'm rebranding, do you have any tips on that?
It's really the same as everything that I just said. You're going to start with, building it. But what I would do is I would just announce it to your community that you are rebranding, giving them a heads up so that when the consistency changes or when things are no longer cohesive, they know that that's coming and that they haven't lost you, that you're still the same, but just the outside of your brand has changed. Your assets are changing. But if you're switching gears completely, then make sure you educate them on what that's going to look like. And is this still for them? Is this not for them? Let them know and give them that opportunity to decide that.
Thank you.
Robin, thank you for being our VIP guest today. You all will have the replays available to you. So if there's something today, Robin, can I ask, would you be willing to share your slides with us? Is that something that you could possibly do? There was a
They'll be
lot of
on the replay.
Well, I didn't know there's somebody could see them. I know everybody's trying to like take notes and screenshot really quick. So you'll have access to them on the replay. Okay. If there is something that you all need specific help with, obviously Robin has a lot of free resources. So go and check her out there. If you have direct questions, she will not be in the Facebook group because again, she's not even on Facebook anymore.
No, Cassie, I
were
got
you able
in.
to get back in?
Yes, I finally got in. It took me so much wasted time, but I did get back in. I still can't get into Instagram from my computer or Facebook, only on my phone. So it's.
Well, I stand corrected. You can pop questions into the Facebook group then.
Yes.
And Robin now will see them since they've let her back into the
Just
Facebook
tag
group.
me or DM me, whatever.
Yeah.
But
or you can message her.
Cassie wants the engagement in the group, then just tag me in the group and then I'll check it.
Yeah, if you have questions, drop them there so that way you know where to get them. But you can also reach out to her on Messenger and website as well.
Yep.
Can you say something about the Christian Entrepreneurs Group and how you participate in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Christian Entrepreneurs is our community off of social media. So we specifically built it off of social media. If you're familiar with the school platform, it is an app and a website. You can access it from laptop or from your cell phone. Our whole mission is just to unite Christian entrepreneurs in business. We do that through events. We do that through connection opportunities, and we do that through networking and hosting things like this. It is a one-time yearly access fee. So you don't have to pay monthly. You don't have to set up subscription. You sign up once a year. You're in there for an entire year. Anything we do, you all are a part of. All of the events, you get opportunities. Robin does a session kind of like this, different topics once a month. So you will get access to Robin once a month. We have networking mixers. We have roundtable discussions. We have lunch and learns, all kinds of great content. And the link, I've dropped it right here. You can check it out. We do have a 7-day free trial. So you are welcome to hop in there, see what it's about for 7 days. You do not get charged until you decide to join or not to join. If you decide it's not for you, you just go and click a button and you're out. They're not going to charge you anything or hold your card or anything. There's about 40 of us now, and we just get in there, support each other, meet together. There's trainings in there, replays in there, opportunities for you to share your LinkedIn, share your YouTube, get feedback on your Instagram, whatever it is that you're showing up. We're there to support you and connect together.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And we are the faces you see hosting this event are several of the leaders in that group. There's not all of us because not all of us are hosting this week, but you will get to see several of us. So Robin is one of the leaders, Andrea, Lydia, you'll meet tomorrow, myself, Michael. There's more of us, but you'll get to meet several of us throughout the course of the week. So
thank you.
And I would say there's an expert on just about every topic related to building a business. So it's a great place to learn and build community around people that can help you or that, would be good connections to have in the long run.
Yeah. And we're all believers. So it's a safe place to come in as a
Yeah.
believer and have those conversations. So it's totally
Yeah.
acceptable and expected for you to come in and ask from a faith-based approach. So
Yeah.
all right, y'all enjoy the
Yep.
rest of your day. Robin, thank you again. And these
Yes, Cassie.
replays, we'll get them available to you as soon as all of the links are ready.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Nice to meet you. Nice to
Thank
meet you.
you. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Really excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.